Hiya! Penguin Truth here, and welcome to Otaku Evolution! Today we'll be looking at a character that is huge in Japan, but hasn't made much impact over here. He's the robot cat without ears, Doraemon. To refer to Doraemon as popular is like saying the ocean is deep or the sun is hot. The creation of two artists under the pen name Fujiko Fujio, Doraemon is less a character and more a franchise phenomenon, spawning decades-spanning anime, video games, cafes, and car commercials where the dude from The Professional plays Doraemon. I am not for a second even kidding about that. Look at this. Look at this glorious madness. Did you know that one of the voice actors to play Doraemon was Masako Nozawa, the voice of Son Goku, Gohan, and Goten in Dragon Ball? Did you know that Doraemon and Friends have starred in 40 featured films? Did you know that Doraemon's 2005 series was actually dubbed into English and aired on Disney XD? But just who is Doraemon? Well, for the uninitiated, we have the 2014 CG film Stand By Me Doraemon to look and see as it retells the first meeting between Doraemon and a hapless loser named Nobita. Nobi. Nobi isn't a gifted child with social skills, athleticism, or scholastic achievement. So it's decided to send him some help from a future era, a blue cat fellow who suddenly comes out of Nobi's desk drawer. He and Nobi's distant descendant appear to put Nobi's life on a better track, else they have a difficult future of suffering. Doraemon, for his part, isn't so sure he can do it, but he can't return to the future until he does. It's going to take a lot of work because Nobi is a mess.
So, you're, thanks for trying to help me out.
Doraemon is always pulling out helpful gadgets to get Nobi through his childhood travails, such as tests and chores, and maybe help him have a little fun in the meantime. But what Nobi wants the most is the affection of his friend Sue. Damn Americanization. And Nobi finds that Doraemon's help alone isn't going to cut it if he wants to win her over. In one case, Nobi decides to age himself up so he can save Sue from a future calamity, using Doraemon's time machine to come to her rescue. But he finds that with his lack of skills, problems just keep piling up, and he has to get especially creative to solve the problem himself.
I've got to trust in future me! Perfect. Her watch is still working. Okay. I've memorized the year, hour, and minute. The rest is up to future me. No, don't let me down! Don't think of anything else! Focus! Think back! You need to remember this right now!
Nobi has competition for Sue's love in Ace Goody. Fellow classmate and overall better kid. Even when Doraemon's device backfires and ends up giving Ace the advantage, the boy can't abide by an easy victory, and a pretty touching scene that pays respect to the role of consent. But Nobi has his moments too, like when he's determined to make Sue hate him so she won't be saddled with him in the future.
If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even get out of my bed.
Then why would you give up on marrying her?
'Cause I've given it a lot of thought. If Sue did become my bride, it would totally ruin the rest of her life. Truth is, I've only been thinking of myself until now.
It's hard to pinpoint the exact emotional core of the movie if I had to. It obviously recalls the innocence and wonder of childhood, while mildly criticizing superfluous technology that's often more trouble than it's worth. But those are all really more themes than moments. I'd say there are two occasions that a sense of vulnerability and yet tenderness really drew my own emotional response. For one, when Nobi and Doraemon peek in on how Sue is doing before her future wedding to the former. Sue seems reticent to discuss what's on her mind with her father until Doraemon uses a device to cause her to spill her anxieties.
All of these years, you and Mom have been so good to me, but I've never done anything for you. All I've ever done is take things from the two of you.
I would disagree. You don't seem to realize that you've left us with some very valuable gifts.
What gifts are those?
Well, there's far too many to count.
Sue's father's speech to her about while he'll miss her, that she's chosen the right man to marry, a good and compassionate man, inspires our Nobi's determination to make sure she's happy in the past, too. I can't help getting a little choked up about it whenever I watch. The other part in the movie comes in the final act, when Doraemon's job is finished and he knows he has to leave Nobi. He is hesitant to leave him because while he knows he's set his life on a better path, he still worries about him. Nobi is at first inconsolable about the impending departure, but then decides to stand up for himself to prove to Doraemon he can take care of himself. You have to give the kid credit for his gumption. I won't give away the finale because it's worth checking out for yourself. Just make sure to have some tissues or a hanky handy, because if you have any kind of heart, you won't have a dry eye. One of the things I like about this movie is that it captures the flexible nature of childhood relationships, with how sometimes you were friends with kids who were jerks, but you hung around with them anyway because you all lived near each other. Nobi and Sue hang out with Big G and Sneetch, even though they're at least nominally bullies, or bully-like, but can also be friendly too. Situational friendships.
The apartment tree!
So handsome, that
That's the whole house
Though I have to wonder at why nobody seems to be at all curious about a talking robot cat that suddenly showed up out of nowhere and lives at Nobi's house. Nobi's parents don't even seem to have anything to say about it. Everybody just sort of accepts Doraemon as if it were natural to do so. It's probably something you're not supposed to think about. Well, I'm not normally a fan of CG anime, or CG animation in general, except in video games. The exaggerated elastic aesthetics of Stand By Me Doraemon work really well for the subject matter. It's a kid's movie full of face pulls and wacky hijinks, not, say, a serious piece of science fiction action like Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and boy, you can see where I'm going with this. I hope 2045 doesn't suck. I truly love scenes like Nobi's night flight, where he's speeding throughout town. It's exhilarating just watching. Rewatching this for this video, I feel like I might have to change my favorites list to include it, because Stand By Me Doraemon is a solid film that anyone could watch. Well, they could watch it if it was actually available. Even though it was dubbed into English, it's never received a physical release in North America. And that's a shame. Even with the Americanizations, it's well worth your time, and probably some money too. Perhaps when the sequel comes out, we'll get this one. Doraemon, you lovable scamp. You just never quite made it stateside, did you? It's too bad. I think this movie would be a hit with kids and the kid at heart alike. Next time on Otaku Evolution, we take a look at a fantasy anime based on D&D sessions. Until then, see ya!